right, if you're working with Node.js, I need you to listen up for a minute. The core team just dropped a major security release, and we're going to dive right into what's at risk and, more importantly, how you can get your applications protected right now.
So the magic number today is 7. That's right. This new security release patches 7 different vulnerabilities. And this isn't some little bug fix, It impacts every single active version of Node, all the way from version 20 up.
So let's talk about what's actually on the line here. Look, we are not talking about some abstract theoretical problems. These are vulnerabilities that can have some serious real-world consequences for your apps. I mean, everything from performance hits to a full-blown system compromise.
So let's get real about what we're facing here. We're talking about memory leaks that could expose sensitive user data. We're talking about denial of service attacks that could let pretty much anyone crash your servers. And even worse, permission bypasses that could grant an attacker access to your entire file system. Yeah, these are exactly the kinds of risks that keep developers up at night.
Okay, so out of those 7 vulnerabilities, 3 of them are the really scary ones, the ones rated high severity. These are the ones that pose the most immediate danger. So let's zoom in and take a closer look at them first. So what makes these flaws so critical? Let's break them down one by one so you can see exactly what they could mean for your production servers. First up, we've got a race condition that can leak sensitive data right out of memory. We're talking things like API keys or user tokens. Next, there's a symlink vulnerability that could let an attacker completely bypass file system permissions and read sensitive files. And finally, there's a flaw where a single, specially crafted HTTP/2 request could be used to remotely crash your entire server. No fun.
Let's dig into that first one because it sounds a little complex, but it's incredibly important to understand. So imagine your server's memory is like a big whiteboard. Normally when Node is done with some data, it erases it. Well, this flaw creates a race condition where a new process can grab that spot on the whiteboard before it's been properly wiped clean, potentially exposing whatever sensitive data was sitting there before.
Okay, so we've covered the big 3, but we're not done yet. The patch also takes care of 4 medium-severity bugs and 1 low-severity one. Now, they might not be as critical, but trust me, they can still cause crashes and other major headaches, so let's give them a quick look. So, what else we got? Well, we have Stack Overflow errors that are literally uncatchable, which leads to another denial of service attack vector. There's a memory leak tied to how TLS certificates are handled. For those of you using the experimental permission model, there's a network permission bypass. And finally, yet another server crash vulnerability, this time related to TLS callbacks. Each one is a distinct problem that thankfully this patch resolves. And hey, they even snuck in a fix for one low-severity issue, preventing file timestamps from being changed without the proper write permissions. You gotta love it when a security release is this thorough. Okay, enough with the problems. Let's talk about the solution. The good news is, the path forward is really clear and direct. You have to upgrade. So let's walk through exactly how you can do that safely and, without breaking anything. Here's your game plan. It's just 4 simple steps. First, obviously, figure out what Node version you're running right now. Second, and I really cannot stress this enough, back up your production environment, please. Third, go ahead and run the upgrade. And finally, test everything to make sure your app is still running happy and healthy. And here it is. This is your cheat sheet for the upgrade. Go ahead, find the release line you're currently on, and that version on the right, that's your target. So whether you're on version 20, 22, 24, or 25, there is a brand new patched version just waiting for you to install. So, once the patching is done and you can finally breathe again, what's the big takeaway here? This whole event isn't just about one single update. It's a really valuable reminder about the nature of security in the open source world and our role in it. I think this quote from the official release really says it all. This wasn't just some internal effort. These vulnerabilities were found and reported by a bunch of different independent researchers. It's just a powerful example of that collaborative, community-driven spirit that keeps the whole open source ecosystem secure for all of us. When it's all said and done, this security release is more than just a patch. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that security is never done. It's an ongoing process. So I'll leave you with just one final question to think about. When was the last time you and your team actually sat down and reviewed your strategy for handling dependency updates? Because at the end of the day, being proactive is really your best and only defense.